They did not call it a punishment. Officially, it was a relocation initiative signed and sealed under interstellar trade law. Unofficially, everyone involved understood the truth. 2 million displaced beings were being sent somewhere they could not survive. The consortium armada arrived near Jupiter without ceremony. 17 massive warships slid from hyperspace and locked into formation, their alignment perfect, mechanical, and cold. They were not there to protect the refugees. They were there to make sure no one interfered. Behind them drifted the real fleet, more than 200 ancient transport vessels, hulls scarred by corrosion and decades of neglect. Inside those ships waited 2 million Avran, an amphibious species whose biology depended on warmth, moisture, and open water. Their oceans were gone. Their world had been stripped to bedrock by corporate extraction, legally purchased, legally destroyed. Ambassador Marina Cortez watched the fleet from Horizon Station. She had negotiated treaties, survived political betrayals, and buried more compromises than she could count. None of that prepared her for the sight of an entire civilization packed into rusting hulls. Her aide, Elias, scrolled through data feeds with trembling hands. "They're amphibious," he said quietly. "Their planet was sold under consortium resource law. Nothing illegal." Marina closed her eyes. She knew those laws well. They allowed planets to be owned, consumed, and abandoned. Entire cultures erased with a contract signature. The main screen lit up. A consortium arbiter appeared, polished, confident, smiling without warmth. "Ambassador Cortez," he said smoothly. "The consortium grants humanity an opportunity for moral leadership. These refugees require sanctuary." Elias leaned closer. "They expect us to refuse," he whispered, "or accept and collapse." Marina understood immediately. Decline, and humanity would be branded heartless. Accept, and the burden would break them. "We accept," Marina said. The arbiter blinked. "All of them. All of them." A pause. Then the smile sharpened. "For biosecurity reasons, settlement on Earth is prohibited." "Mars," Marina replied without hesitation. The arbiter's satisfaction was unmistakable. Mars was frozen, dry, barely sustaining its own settlers. For an amphibious species, it was a slow extinction. "How long will you need to prepare?" he asked. 25 days, Marina said. Silence flooded the channel. "Standard days?" "Yes." The transmission ended. Elias stared at her. "That's impossible." Marina met his gaze calmly. "When humans decide something must be done," she said, "we stop asking whether it's possible." Within minutes, Marina stood before billions across Earth. 2 million refugees need a home, she said evenly. The consortium expects failure. In 25 days, we will prove them wrong. Then she made the call. Engineers, doctors, builders, teachers, anyone who has ever wanted to matter, this is your moment. For one heartbeat, the world was silent. Then the servers crashed. On Mars, Governor Lin Xiao issued emergency orders before the broadcast ended. All non-essential projects halted. Terraforming reserves meant for centuries were unlocked overnight. Massive transports launched from Earth in continuous waves. Automated construction swarms were deployed, self-replicating machines humanity had never publicly acknowledged. They poured into the Tharsis Basin, burrowing into regolith, extracting raw material, multiplying as they worked. Domes rose where red dust had lain untouched for ages. Water systems followed. Heat spread. Artificial suns ignited in orbit, casting soft, living light. And then came the volunteers. Millions registered within hours. Most would never leave Earth, but they contributed in every way they could. Scientists abandoned sleep. Linguists learned alien dialects. Artists reconstructed memories of oceans that no longer existed. On board the refugee ships, despair lingered. The Avran had been drifting for months, losing elders, losing children, losing hope. Many had begun composing farewell songs for a future they believed was ending. A young Avran named Lyra pressed her forehead to the viewport. Below her, Mars no longer looked dead. It shimmered with spreading constellations of light. "They're building," she whispered. Her grandmother, Sarthi, an old poet, watched in silence. "The consortium believes humans will fail," she said at last. "I am no longer certain." By the seventh day, the first habitat stood complete. Warm wetlands stretched beneath translucent domes. Water flowed freely. Humidity thickened the air. Engineered marshlands were designed not merely for survival, but for comfort, because belonging mattered. Human doctors boarded the refugee ships with medicine, food, and something far rarer, proof. "This is real," one physician said, displaying live footage of steaming pools and green growth. "This is for you." Fear cracked. Hope seeped in. By day 14, the consortium demanded inspections. Their envoys walked through the domes in silence. They saw children laughing in water. Murals of stolen skies painted from memory. Humans enduring suffocating heat without complaint because comfort mattered more than convenience. "How many humans are assigned here?" one envoy asked. 11,000 on Mars, the commander replied. Over 200 million volunteered on Earth. That answer followed them back to orbit like a shadow. On day 15, the first transport landed. An elderly Avran stepped onto Martian soil and froze. Warm water flowed beneath a living sky. He fell to his knees and wept. Children ran into the pools. Elders touched water as if it might vanish. Joy, long absent, returned. By day 20, every refugee stood on solid ground. Mars was no longer a sentence. It was home. When the consortium returned, they came with demands. "These refugees fall under assembly authority," the envoy declared. "Mars is provisional." Marina Cortez listened patiently. Then she pressed a control. Across the system, dormant signals ignited. Defense arrays unfolded around Earth. Lunar bastions powered up. Mars shed its disguises, revealing planetary shields and hardened installations. In the asteroid belt, shipyards awakened. A fleet emerged. Not relics, not prototypes. Modern warships, silent and waiting. "You deceived us," the envoy whispered. "No," Marina replied calmly. "You underestimated us." She stood. "You taught us your rules. Power decides worth. The displaced are expendable. So we chose to become strong. Not to dominate, but to protect our promises." The consortium had no response. They departed without threats, without certainty. Months later, Mars held millions. Wetlands expanded. Cities grew. Humans and Avrans shared markets, schools, laughter. Across the galaxy, something shifted. Corporations, once untouchable, faced outrage. Laws excusing cruelty were questioned. 10 years after 2 million refugees were sent away to disappear, a monument stood where the first shuttle landed. Water flowed over red stone. Here, strangers became neighbors. Here, kindness found a home. And the galaxy realized it had been wrong about humanity.